I love listening to music while playing video games. In games like League, it's essential for my experience since I don't really need to hear the game's little sounds. And in tactical FPS shooters like Valorant, I'm constantly changing the music volume depending on by phase and round, being able to hear footsteps and comms, etc. I was always manually tabbing out and changing the volume myself, and I always wished there was a simple solution for this. So I built one with Python. Meet SpotiVol, an app that lets you change the Spotify volume with just one key or a combination of keys you choose. It has two modes, local and API. In this video, I'll show you how to download it and set it up in both modes. Now let's start to the showcase of the app that I created. I uploaded my app to the GitHub to share with the people, and I'm going to add the link to the description. When you get in the GitHub link, you can see the description of the application here, but you don't need to read any of that because I'm going to explain everything that is written here. Now in the GitHub link, you're going to click the code here and press download zip. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to download again. So when you download it, you're going to extract the files, and in the file that you extracted, you're going to run the exe file. Now there's a few head-ups that you need to know. One, when you run this application on Windows, sometimes the Windows mark this application as not trusted. And it happens because I'm not a company and I don't have any license for my application that I created. For me to have a license for this application, I need to pay like $100 for a year. And I'm not going to pay that money. So you should give permission for this application to run. Secondly, this application's local version only works on Windows because I coded it with PyCow. So if you don't use Windows, if you use something like Mac or Linux, you need to use the Spotify API. There is no any other choice. 3. You need to run SpotiVol exe as administrator if you're going to play video games. Because if you don't run it as administrator, the application won't go through games and lower the Spotify volume. It needs to be run as administrator to go through the game and lower the system volume or Spotify volume, depending on if you use local or Spotify API. And lastly, for you to use Spotify API, you need to have Spotify Premium. It's another thing that I implemented. It's in the Spotify development. You can't use Spotify Web API if you don't have Premium. It is written like that. I can't do anything about it, and I'm sorry about that. If you don't have Premium, you have to use the local. So let me show you how the local works. I'm gonna lower the profile 1 to 10% and profile 2 to 80% because the lower volume will be lower on mine. Now in the hotkey, you need to write whatever you want to bind as. You can write something like J, K, L, or you can write something like combinations such as Ctrl plus K or Ctrl plus L. I like to use Ctrl plus K, especially if I'm going to use it on the games, and Ctrl plus L for the higher volume. Now I open the Spotify and I'm going to open this music. Now what local version of my app does is changes the system volume of the PC. Now when I press Ctrl K, as you can see, it's gone down to the 10%. And when I press Ctrl L, it goes to the 80% of the Spotify's high volume in the system. Now the core thing about this local version is it acts on the highest volume in the system. I use 35%, actually 36 right now, of my system because my headset is loud. So when I press Ctrl K, it goes down to the 10% of 36%, which is 4% right now. And when I press Ctrl L, it goes to the 26%, which is 80%, roughly 80% of 36% of my maximum system volume. This is how local of my application works. It basically changes the system volume of the PC about Spotify. Now, if you go to the Spotify API, you need to press this in here, and you need to go to the API settings. I wrote them what you need to do here. You need to go to developer.spotify.com, then do all of those. I'm going to show you how to do it now. Now, I'm in the developer.spotify.com. I created a test account. And in here, after you log in, you need to press here and press dashboard. In here, you need to press create app. And you can write whatever you want in here, it doesn't matter. I wrote random things, but in the redirect URI, you need to write this. You can find it from here in the description of the GitHub, or you can find it from the video's description. You can copy and paste it to here. Then you're going to choose the web API and take this one too. After doing all that, it will give you client ID, and when you press here, it will show you the client secret. We need those two credentials to write in here so our application can get the tokens that we need. Now I'm gonna copy the client ID and paste it in here. And I'm gonna copy the client secret and paste it in here. Those are actually pretty private credentials, by the way. Don't share it. I'm sharing it with you because I'm gonna delete all of it after the video ends. So there's no issue, but you should not share this with random people. So you're gonna save it, and it says you can now log into Spotify. Press the log into Spotify, and it will take you to a site and ask you to give permission. Give permission to it, and as you can see, it says success. You can close this window and return to the application. Now it says successfully logged into Spotify. But the issue is my Spotify right now, the account that I'm in, is not premium. So when I press Ctrl K or Ctrl L, as you can see, it says API error 403, player command failed, premium required. So you need to have a premium in your account if you want to use Spotify Web API. Now I'm gonna switch to my main account to show you how it works. Now I switched to my main account and I did every settings that I need to do, and I made the profile 1 10% and profile 2 40%. Now as the music plays, I'm pressing Ctrl plus K and it becomes 10%. I'm gonna make this the primary so we can see it easier. And when I press Ctrl L, it becomes 40% because my profile 2 setting is 40%. 10% with Ctrl K and 40% with Ctrl L. So that's basically how it works. I really enjoyed making it and I'm really enjoying using it right now. I hope it will be useful for you too and you will enjoy as much as I do. So if you are curious about how everything happens, it's basically you go to the developer site, you create your app, you give the credentials that my app needs, you host a web server by using this URI. So the credentials from the API comes to my app by the web server that you created, and we get two tokens, access token and refresh token. The access token does all the work, and refresh token refreshes the access token every hour because the access token only lasts for an hour. That's basically how the app works, and I hope you liked it and it was clear enough for you. It would be really good if you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, recommendations, anything to say, you can shoot it in the comments. Lots of love, take care, and I hope you will have a great day ahead.